Hello and welcome back to NBA DFS Breakdown for Thursday, March 7th. We are here. We are inching through March and getting closer and closer to the end of this season. Now, before we get into this slate, right down there, promo offers. Come join us. You can get a free month and give us a tryout. All you got to do, join one of our affiliates. ParlayPlay, Sleeper, Underdog, Chalkboard. It is only if you are a new customer to any of them, and it will give you 1 month free. Now, let's get into the slate a little bit. All right, so 7-game slate on both sites. We got another split slate where 3 early games and 4 later games, or really 3 later games and then 1 at 6. So it's kind of in the middle. But interesting slate, how it breaks down for sure. This time, all the closer games are early. All the, blowouts are late, minus this Boston-Denver game that could go, all sorts of different ways. Now, let's get into the FanDuel point guards. So starting off high owned, we got Emmanuel Quickly, 24% owned. His price is all the way up to $8K. He's been pretty good lately. I have definitely missed some of this train, and now he has a very, very good matchup versus the Suns. And something to notice here is his minutes are up. There's no Barnes, no Podol. Definitely part of the reason is why he is doing so much better. I'm not getting to a ton of them right now, though. This, price raise, I think, has just taken me out of it a little bit. However, the ceiling's been there lately. He got 53 just a little bit ago, had a couple games in the 40s. I don't mind going there. My issue is there's other guys that I like in this lower 8K range that's just taking me out of going with Quickly. Next, Dennis Schroeder, 22% owned, 6,600. I'm definitely getting to some Schroeder. Guy's been extremely good without Cam Thomas. And now there's no Cam Johnson as well. I think he's in a decent spot here. Should rule the point once again and play a decent amount of minutes. He's been in that 34 range for a few games now. Should be back there. Got a good matchup versus the Pistons. Don't mind going there. Trey Jones coming in. Now, the big news here is there's no Victor Wembanyama. So the Spurs are getting a decent amount of ownership. I'm not getting a ton of them, unfortunately. I just expect Sacramento to crush them. Honestly. Now, could that be different? Absolutely. But we'll have to wait and see about that one. And pivot-wise, Tyrese Halliburton. It really hurts. Keep chasing that big Halliburton game. But at least now he's into the low 3s. And he's really been in the mid-40s a ton. And we still know he has that giant upside. The issue that I see is his minutes are just down. He's playing, 31 minutes a game right now, where his big run, he was in that 34 range. So right now there's a lot of games where he's just playing 32 minutes. Now, it is an okay spot versus Timberwolves. Not, great, but not bad. And with him always in that mid-40s, I'm still kind of interested and can chase that big blow-up game at low ownership where he could absolutely, smoke the slate. So definitely a little intrigued there. Also, a little intrigued on Caruso again. My one worry here is, if Torrey Craig plays, maybe he doesn't have quite as many minutes. We have him at 32.5. He's played 34 his last 2 games, but he is a guy that usually plays, low 31, 32 minutes, not 34. So I don't mind going here. I'm getting to him a little bit because he is a very good producer on the fantasy side. The thing is, he's kind of boom bust based on if he's getting those steals and blocks or not. Another guy I'm going to, and I cannot believe he's lower owned, 7.9K. So the price is up a little bit, which is probably part of the reason why people aren't going there. But Bradley Beal, no Devin Booker. He's going to be the primary ball handler. He has a much higher ceiling without Booker on the court. His scoring rate goes up. His assist rate goes up. He's going to play a little bit more. We have him at 33.5. What I thought was interesting is played 36 last game, and he had several games of 36, 37, 38 before he got hurt. So I actually expect him to play more like 36. I am very intrigued here. Another one, Jamal Murray. You know, he is in this matchup versus the Celtics. His price is right around where it's been for a while here, but the dude has a very, very high ceiling. Talking about a guy that's 8,400, so similar to Emmanuel Quickly, but way more 50-point games, has a higher ceiling, has a higher, kind of average score. I would much rather go lower ownership and $300 more than pay for Quickly and his higher ownership. So that's just one of the pivots that I'm kind of intrigued on. Now let's get over to Draftkings and check out point guards there. So we got De'Aaron Fox, Dennis Schroeder, Bradley Beal. 6,900 for Bradley Beal's way too cheap. 6,100 for Schroeder's too cheap. 8,500 for De'Aaron Fox is too cheap. 8,500, and the guy has just been absolutely dominating the last couple weeks. Several 4, 5, 50-point games, a 60-point game. Kind of hard in a very good matchup to want to fade an 8,500 guy that can get you 60. And into the matchup tool. Let's go to the team defense. Let's keep showing off the newer matchup tool. Manuel Quickly, Terry Rozier, Bradley Beal, all at the very top of it. Don't mind any of them. Am getting to some of all of them. Now in the shooting guard, we got Lonnie Walker, we got Grady Dick, and Emmanuel Quickly. Grady Dick, we were on the other day. He is getting the extra minutes like we thought he might. He just hasn't had, a real solid game with it. Could it be today? Absolutely. He does have that ability to get hot and give us 30 plus. So at 4,300, he's interesting. And I am getting to some. Just not, an overly abundant amount. Manuel Quickly, we went over, is fine. Lonnie Walker, I am definitely intrigued with Walker. 30 minutes last game, only 14 the game before that, but I would expect him to be either start or be the first guy off the bench and really kind of control the ball a lot if he is that guy off the bench. So I am intrigued. I'm probably getting way too much of him. I am getting over the field right now and not too sure, but he is questionable. So we need to watch this spot as the day progresses because he could definitely be out. It was a hamstring too, I believe. I believe it's a hamstring again, which he hurt earlier in the season. Don't quote me on that one for sure because I'm not 100% sure. Anthony Edwards. There is no Karl Anthony Towns. Guy gets a big bump up. It's like 0.08 fantasy point per minute bump without Cat. So already becomes interesting. Now you put in that he is in a higher pace matchup versus the Pacers, and it becomes a little more interesting. Plus, the ceiling on his minutes is just way higher. Where maybe he goes 36, 37. Now his ceiling is probably 38, 40 because no Cat. So definitely intrigued, and the ceiling is actually there. He's shown us 60 burgers recently. So don't hate going there. We went to Caruso. Gary Trent. We were on Gary Trent the other day when he put up a 35 burger. He's in a good matchup again. His ceiling and his floor just have gone way up without these guys in the lineup. So definitely intrigued to go with some Gary Trent. And Bradley Beal we talked about. Moving it on to DraftKings shooting guard Lonnie Walker, Anthony Edwards, and Mikal Bridges. 7.1 is probably a bit too cheap for Bridges and a good matchup. Guy that can give you, 50s. Just hasn't been very good lately. The thing with Mikal is his normal mid-30 score isn't going to get you anything, not going to get you anywhere, but he has these huge blow-up games where he's going, high 40s or into the 50s. So that's what you're looking for. It is a matchup that he can do it. I don't love the ownership, but don't mind taking some shots at 7,100 on DK. And the matchup tool, Kevin Huerter on the top. The one thing I got to bring here, only 12 minutes last game, 23 the game before that. We've seen them go through periods where he doesn't get that much run. We might be going through that again. If you want to put him back up to like 26, 27 minutes, he's going to look really good at 4,500. It is a good matchup. He could get there, but his minutes are just kind of a juggling act right now. So he could absolutely crush that salary, but those minutes are a little scary. I would say probably smart to have a little bit of him in your lineups. Just don't go overboard. Vassell, no Wemby, definitely gets a bump up. And he is a guy that could shoot them into this game and keep them into the game. So interesting there. And Lonnie Walker is showing up. Small forward. We got Lonnie Walker. We got Grady Dick. We got Kyle Anderson. As we said, no cat. So he should get the start. Should play a bunch of minutes. And he's 0.95 fantasy per minute guy when he's starting. So definitely a bit intriguing at 5,500. We got some pivots. We talked about Ant. Oh, got to talk about Royce O'Neal. Guy's been very, very good for the Suns. Kind of similar to how he was with Utah, where he was, a legit 3-and-D guy, and he's doing a little bit more than just 3-and-D in this spot. So definitely intrigued. He can rack up the steals, blocks, hit a couple threes to get there. 5,600 is not too much for me in a game that he should play right around 33, 34 minutes. And I like the spot. Anthony Edwards, don't mind getting to him as we talked about, and Keldon Johnson. No Wemby. They're going to need Keldon to jump in. He probably plays a little more minutes. He has a big ceiling, so hopefully we can see something out of him tonight. They will need him for any chance to stay into this game. DeMar DeRozan. I talked about how there's guys low 8K that I like. I like DeMar DeRozan much more than Quickly as well. Only $200 more. Yes, different position, but it's a guy that's in the 50s all the time and lives in like the high 30s, low 40s. I like the matchup a ton. 24th overall versus power forward. He's going to have to score. He plays a ton of minutes, and they're going to need him. So I don't mind going to DeMar. Also, like Aaron Naismith. So there is some worry about his minutes. Since he's came back, 21, 28, 22. We have him at 28.5 this game. There is no Benedict Mathurin. If he gets back up to that 28, 32-ish range, then he's in an absolute smash spot. Without Mathurin, he could get those minutes again. I do expect him to be at least around 28, but hey, who knows? I don't really know what's going on with his injury. It is a quad injury, so they might just be, playing it very, very careful with him. But I do like his output, and if he can get up to those minutes, then he looks interesting, and he's cheap enough to really blow out that salary. Into small forward on DK, Kyle Anderson, Keldon Johnson, Lonnie Walker. Talked about them all, so let's move on to matchup tool. Royce O'Neal. Guy I like a lot, probably not getting owned enough. Jimmy Butler is in just an outstanding spot. I do like Jimmy Butler, and one thing we got to talk about here is it's Jimmy Butler post All-Star break. Totally different guy than pre. The last 2 seasons, he's averaged over 25 real points per game post All-Star break, and it's like 21.5 or 21.8 pre All-Star break. So he's a different guy post All-Star break. He's actually engaged, trying to get locked in, ready for those playoffs. So definitely like him in a matchup versus, I believe it was Dallas, right? Yep, Dallas. Julian Champagny, wish he was playing some more minutes. A little bit interesting. Michael Porter is a little interesting as well. into the power forward spot, we got Kyle Anderson, we got Kelly Olynyk, we got Royce O'Neal. Kelly Olynyk, no podal. He's going to play minutes again, 28 and starting last game. Should be right around that 28-30 range once again. That was 28 in an absolute blowout. So we could maybe see some, 32, 34 minute things from him. And if he's getting up there, he's going to, probably crush that $6,500 salary. Pivot wise, it is almost all guys we talked about except for Isaiah Stewart. So thing about Stewart here that I think is interesting, without no Bojan and without Killian Hayes, he's like a 0.83 fantasy per minute guy so far this season. Now, what I am intrigued about is his minutes. Ever since coming back from injury, 34, 33, 27 in a blowout, and then 36. So I think his minutes are safe. I think he's going to get 34-ish minutes and 0.83 fantasy point per minute plus, an okay matchup, a close game where he could get additional minutes. I think it's interesting, and I'm going to take some swings at Stewart. One thing, I don't love him in the center spot. I know he's eligible for center power forward, but I think you're just losing too much upside sliding him into the center spot. So I would much rather him at power forward. On to DraftKings, Kyle Anderson, Keldon Johnson, Kevin Durant. Hey, no Bradley Beal, or no Devin Booker. You got to be intrigued by Durant. He does have that 60-point upside. He's hit it multiple times lately, hit 71. When he has his real big games, it's usually because Beal or Booker are out. So definitely intrigued by going with some KD. Matchup tool, Kevin Durant at the very top, DeMar DeRozan right there. Jason Tatum is going lower owned, and I am absolutely intrigued by him too. I'm going to have a little bit, just not going overboard. It's hard to pay up for power forward that many times on one, in one slate, having all three high-owned guys, but definitely intrigued with all of them. On to the center spot. Rudy Gobert. Kelly Olynyk, highest owned. Domantas Sabonis, right under him. Sabonis is getting up there, almost 11K. Very solid, can give you those 80-point games, but really kind of lives in that mid-50s, 60s. Very, very consistent. One thing that I want to bring everybody's attention to here is the fact that it's not Wemby and it's Zach Collins. I think Zach Collins is going to be a little bit better on the defensive end. What we saw from Sengun is what a lot of centers have been doing, where they just go right at Wemby, go into his chest, and takes away some of his shot blocking, and he's just a little weak. Collins is not going to be as weak as Wemby. So I think it's a little bit tougher matchup than it shows on paper, but it's still a good spot. Definitely intrigued with going to some Sabonis. Price is up there a little bit. Wish it was a little lower, but hey, I'm going to have a little bit, just not as much. The field is showing at 19%. I absolutely love Vucevic. Look, Warriors can get beat by big, legit centers. And Vooch, one of the things for his career that's always been there is when he gets minutes, he really produces. And he's been getting minutes lately. 35.7 average over the last 20, 34.8 over the last 5. He can absolutely get there if they give him, that 34 to 36 minutes, he's going to crush. 2 games in a row that, he didn't quite get there minute-wise, but I got faith that that's still kind of what they're trying to do, get him those type of minutes. Definitely intrigued with going some Vooch, and I think he's going under-owned. Stewart, we talked about as well. And that's pretty much all for center. Don't mind Collins. Don't mind Bam. Don't mind Draymond either, as well as Nurkic and Claxton. Kind of getting a little bit of all of them, but majority of my ownership is Vooch at the center spot. Now, Center on DK, Zach Collins, 4,300s, just way too cheap. No surprise, he's super high owned. Trey Lyles, 3,400. The guy played 30 minutes last game. So, he has some games of 32, 33. I don't expect that type of minutes tonight. So I do have a little worry, but hey, at any given night, he can go for 20 plus, and he's almost the minimum. So I understand why people are going there. I just wouldn't go there with any large portion of my player pool. Into the matchups. Domantas Sabonis, best matchup, as I talked about. It's not Wemby, so it's not quite as good as it looks. Then we got Vooch, and then we got Nurkic. We got Claxton there. One of the things with Claxton that you got to bring up is the fact that coach wants Claxton more engaged on the offensive side, which really just is going to raise his floor, his ceiling, all above. I'm a little intrigued by him in this matchup. Also getting to a little bit, just not a ton. And that will do it for us today, guys. I think it's going to be an interesting slate. We got 7 games. Let's go ahead and get a takedown. Have a good one. Good luck. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.